It's another week, another game night. The Bears are back and they're out of sight. Bad calls, bad luck, it's a weekly sight. Tune in to another bad call, let's make it right. Yo, it's another bad call, it shows the name. Breaking down the plays, the blame and the shame. From Soldier Field to the NFL's domain. We're here to talk it out again and again. Another bad call, it shows the name. Breaking down the plays, the blame and the shame. From Soldier Field to the NFL's domain. We're here to talk it out again and again. Again and again. Again and again. Yo. Again and again.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another bad call. The podcast that proves the refs aren't the only ones who get it wrong. I'm JD, and with me, as always, is Justin. What's going on, buddy?
Happy New Year. What's up, folks?
Yeah, it is January 6th of 2025. As with everybody else, I'm sure still trying to get used to writing that down. Happens every year. But, how's your New Year start, buddy?
Hasn't been too terrible. I those stupid resolution things. I resolved to myself that I was going to focus on my health a little bit here more in the new year, and for that, my goal was to get a 45 minutes worth of walking in every single day, and I don't really love the treadmill. So I'm trying to do this outdoors pretty much as possible, barring, extreme weather. Well, the weather has progressively gotten worse each of the 6 days of the year so far. I've still been able to manage through it. Today's the first day back into the grind of life with kids back in school and
Right.
all their extracurricular activities, and I had to split it into a 30-minute and a 20-minute, but I got my more than 45 in for the day. We're gonna keep moving, but
Well, you are about
hopefully
42 minutes longer than me, so good job.
yeah. How about you?
That's
How's
a
your
great
New
goal.
Year?
Oh, it was fine. We did a nice little thing with the kids. We let them stay up till midnight for the first time, and then we had like a dinner get together with some good friends on Saturday, and didn't get home till about 1 o'clock. We were kind of out your way a little bit, so very late nights, and then trying to get the kids back into a groove, as you said. First day back at school. Luckily, we were a little bit more flexible with our schedule, but with being homeschooled, so but it's still, it's back into the grind, but is what it is. It's a good start. I'm looking outside as you were mentioning the weather, and I'm starting to see these snow flurries starting to come down our way, but is what it is. It's January. We kind of expected. I mean, we made it basically through December without anything. So now that we're into what is probably officially winter, since our seasons have shifted, in my opinion, here we go, right?
Yep, for sure.
I did find out, and I told you this, I did find out over Christmas break, finished second in my indoor golf league. So that was cool. And I had the first week of the new season yesterday, and we put a 5 under on the first round to open up. So pretty happy about it. Swinging them sticks every week is helping tremendously. So
We'll see if it transfers over to the real course.
probably not at all. I'm very relaxed in that simulator, very relaxed right now. But also the last couple weeks, I haven't had to use my driver hardly at all. It's been all irons, and I mean, you've seen me with those irons. I'm very comfortable with them at this point. So
Good, glad for you.
Yeah. But all right, let's get into it, because we got some stuff to cover. Before we do, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, comment, and it's all free stuff that totally helps the channel. Check out at Another Bad Call on the big social media platforms. And then at some point in time, anotherbadcall.com will actually maybe put some stuff out there, probably more so towards the off season is when we'll have more content coming out for that. Nat joined us in the chat today. Already dropped out there talking about putting an ad in Crane's Chicago business for O-line help. I don't know what that is. I mean, I know what O-line help is, but I don't know what the Crane Chicago business is because I don't read.
It's probably not the best place to look for O-line help. I'll tell you that much.
Although it kind of looks like that's where the Bears might have been looking for O-line help.
Yeah.
And with that, that's a good segue to get right into the Bears. They win one. Hey, they go up to Lambeau and in poetic fashion, right? Basically the same way that they lost to Green Bay at Soldier Field. They get another shot at it with a last-minute field goal or last-second field goal, if you will. This time it does not get blocked. Goes through. The Bears get the W. We get that proverbial monkey off the back.
Yeah, no, I think as I was watching it, I turned it on. I wasn't expecting much of anything from the Bears going into it. Didn't think they'd put up much of a fight, but I will say this: the defense came to play for the first time since Eberflus got let go. It really,
Right.
they came out there and they were flying to the ball. You could tell that this one mattered to them, and that was good to see. And Caleb did his Caleb thing. We didn't put up a ton of yards in this game, but we didn't need to. It was ball control. The special teams added into this one, right?
Yeah. Oh, big time. They went to the bag of tricks from like 2011 with the they used the decoy, right? So this time DJ Moore plays the Devin Hester role as the decoy, and then Blackwell does the Johnny Knox, pulling that one out of the vault. Johnny Knox role and runs it up the right sideline. Exact same play against the exact same team, just in a different stadium. I think the Johnny Knox one was in Soldier Field.
I think I saw that Blackwell ran from for a total of 135 yards or something on that play because he actually started up towards the line of scrimmage on coverage and dropped all the way back into the corner before running it all the way back.
Because the rules are different, right? So you gotta, yeah.
Well, it was it was a punt, so it's not the kickoff. It's not quite the same, but
right.
It was I watched there was a next gen stats view of his the path that he had on that play. It was pretty interesting, but overall I mean I wouldn't say the Bears won the yardage. Green Bay had quite the advantage, 367 to 224, but the Packers had 20 first downs. The Bears had 16. Both teams had 2 turnovers. It wasn't, the time of possession was pretty dead even. So, Caleb protected the ball for there was fumbles. He didn't. Oh, the Keenan Allen play. The Bears try to go into the bag of tricks, which is fine. I applaud them for trying to be a little more inventive in this game than they had, because for the most part it was a bunch of screens again, which hopefully whoever we get in here next year is that's not going to be one of their calling cards, because the overabundance of screen plays in the last few weeks was reminiscent of the last days of Matt Nagy with the Chicago Bears.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're at a point though where your line can't block for shit. So it's how fast can we get rid of the ball? But there's got to be other options in there than just
slants,
screen, right?
Slants over the middle, something else like move the pocket, those kind of things. But no, hey, I don't want to. There's not a whole lot for us to analyze here. This was the capper to the season. Normally, I would complain about losing draft position, but never at the expense of beating the Packers. So
Right.
Fuck the Packers.
So here's what I'm gonna do. I've got 2 quick points on it, and then we'll move on to the next thing here. The first of which is what you just mentioned, the draft spots. Right. I'm not worried about dropping a couple of draft spots. I think we moved from like 7 to 10 or something like that. It's not like they went from the number 1 overall to number 5, right? Or from 6 to 20, right? I mean, we went from 7 to 10. We're still top 10. We still got a shot at a really good player. You can miss at number 2 the same way you can miss at 32. Like that's going to happen. So that small of a window, I'm not worried about. There are those that say this was a meaningless game that they should not have won again because of that draft picks or whatever. Listen, I understand the Packers. We knocked out their starting QB for the game. Their top wide receiver. Unfortunate to see. I mean, that guy just can't stay healthy. Looks like torn ACL. Christian Watson, torn ACL. He's done. They were basically resting Josh Jacobs. At some point, they just kind of were like, yeah, whatever. To all those people that say this doesn't count, it's a meaningless game. I say go listen to Akon. This still counts, man. Like, this team desperately needed to learn how to finish a game, and that's what they did. Okay, they hadn't done that since the fail Barry.
You can't say it didn't mean anything to the players. You got Jalen Johnson out there flipping the bird to the fans as he walks off the field.
Right.
You got DJ Moore in a post-game interviews. Fuck the Packers.
And
God
bless
it mattered, and it was good to see them showing some pride, because really the last 5-6 weeks it felt like they had lost all of it.
Right.
So
totally agree. And I look, I was having this conversation with somebody else earlier. The Giants last week, they had a shot at the number 1 overall pick. Instead, they win the game, knock the Colts out of the playoff or out of playoff contention, right? Okay, I can understand as a fan base being really pissed off about that because you want that number 1 overall pick. The Patriots had a shot at the number 1 overall pick, and they go out and they win yesterday. It's like, as fans of those teams, you're going, well, what the hell? Like, we want that number 1 pick. Well, you got to remember that everybody on those staffs and everybody on that field is constantly auditioning and putting film on tape, right? Or putting film out there as basically a resume for 31 other teams, right? So they're trying to earn their next job if they lose this one. And these guys that get paid to go out there and play, and some of them aren't getting paid a ton when you're in week 18, it means something to them. So definitely I would not call this a meaningless game. I am thrilled to death that the Bears took this one home. It's a great way to end the season. It's a great way to see, hey, you guys didn't give up and you figured out how to finish. So kudos, thank you, and bear down. Now, season's over, which means let's get to talking about who's going to be the next head coach.
We knew for sure. This is a first for us. There's been question about coaching staffs in the past, and it's drug out, and they fired a coach. It's drug out, and they brought the coach back last year. This time, for the first time ever, hopefully upper management has been doing homework for a couple of months.
Yeah, hopefully they were doing homework at the start of the season regardless. But let's real quick, we'll run through the list of names. Some of these are confirmed interviews. Some of them are expected interviews that we can't put on the books yet because their teams are still going. So Ben Johnson, right? I mean, he's the hot name. He's your offensive coordinator of Detroit. Then on the flip side, you got Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator of Detroit. Came out today that they've requested to talk to Mike McCarthy, head coach Dallas, obviously head coach of Green Bay for many years. Todd Monken, offense coordinator Baltimore. Brian Flores, defense coordinator of Minnesota. Arthur Smith, who's the current offense coordinator of the Steelers. And obviously, he was the head coach of the Falcons last year. Anthony Weaver, defensive coordinator for Miami. Drew Petzig, offense coordinator Arizona. Mike Kafka, offense coordinator of the Giants. That was just funny. Liam Cohen is expected to be on the list, right? Offensive coordinator of Tampa Bay. Vance Joseph is possible for defense coordinator for Denver. Thomas Brown, we all know that I've got it listed in my notes as all the things for Chicago. Basically, he pass game coordinator, offensive coordinator, and then head coach, or doing interim for all those things. Pete Carroll, who and Mike Vrabel, who are both taking the years off. Did I leave anybody off that list that you expect to be? I realize I just word vomited a bunch of candidates, but that was all the ones that I could think of that have been confirmed and like who we're kind of expected to talk to as we go forward through this process.
I think that's everybody that I've seen today.
Right.
Based on reporting from Schefter and Rappaport and Pelissero and the likes of who they have requested interviews with. Don't know if I don't know if any of them have actually been confirmed to be happening.
Right.
Other than Vrabel, I did hear that Vrabel was scheduled for Wednesday.
Yep.
But the other guys, the guys in the playoffs, they just now became available.
So if I'm not
to request, to put in a request for.
Right.
And so those teams have the option, whether I don't know how it works. Anyway, guys that are playing this week cannot interview this week. If they're on a bye, they can interview virtually this week. And obviously those who are not employed are available to interview now.
Right. And, that's looking at Vrabel, Carroll, I guess technically Thomas Brown, TB, right? Like,
right.
So I don't know if you've got the notion up. I'm go ahead and I'm
Mike Kafka. Mike Kafka is available. Drew Petzing is available.
Yeah, any of the guys knocked out of the playoffs, right? So
right. Mike McCarthy's an interesting one.
Anthony Weaver. Yeah, but the Cowboys basically have to say like yes, you can or no, and then
right. He's under contract until actually next week. The end of next week, like the 14th, right. I think they have their exclusive negotiating window is open until the 14th, and then he should be allowed to interview. That one's interesting. I started looking at his record, and we around here make a lot of fun of Mike McCarthy. Obviously, all the years as Packers coach that we've had to go against him and whatnot. But I want to run down 2 resumes here.
Yeah, go ahead.
For you. 18 years as an NFL head coach, 170 and 120 in the regular season, 11 and 11 in the postseason. One Super Bowl and 1 Super Bowl win and 1 Super Bowl loss.
Yeah.
Here's the other one. 174 and 112 in the regular season with the 608 win percentage. That was versus the other guy with the 586. 11 and 11 in the playoffs. A Super Bowl win. Those are the 2 resumes.
So, I want to touch base on the Mike McCarthy thing here because while yes, the resume was like he wins. Well, he did it with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him win in anything with Dallas. Now, granted, Dallas went through some.
I was at three straight 12-win seasons.
In what was a really weak division for a while, right? I mean,
yeah.
And let's talk about all his wins as a Packers
only
coach
one
too.
playoff. Only one playoff win with Dallas.
Yeah, and let's talk about it, all of his time with Green Bay too. The North wasn't lighting up the league like it is now either, right? So, I mean, the Lions weren't the Lions, you know.
No,
Vikings
no.
were okay.
Vikings
The Bears
had
were
some.
okay.
Vikings
Like
had some good years. I
so,
mean, obviously the other guy was Pete Carroll.
Right.
Their records are almost identical. It's crazy how in sync and parallel their two careers are.
Two different sides of the ball too. If I'm not mistaken, McCarthy's more of an offensive guy. Pete Carroll's more of a defensive minded guy. Obviously Pete Carroll had all those years with Russ and the Legion of Boom and everything, and the great job they did out in Seattle. The two oldest candidates too that they're looking at, right? Pete Carroll 73 and still has more energy than me. I can't figure that out. Mike McCarthy 61. Doesn't look 61. He looks like a bowling ball, but he does not look 61.
I will say that I'm not stumping for either of those guys. I was just deciding to go like take a
Right.
look at what they've done, and the Bear Mike McCarthy would instantly be the best coach the Bears have had since Lovie Smith. So
Absolutely.
I mean that, like, if you want to go for stability and somebody who knows how to work with a young quarterback and things like that, you certainly could do worse, especially from what I've seen on this list. But
yeah, so that brings up a good
I'm
point.
not stumping for Mike McCarthy here. I'm just saying, if we ended up going with him over a handful of these other, you and I both said we saw Arthur Smith's name and threw up in our mouth a little bit.
Yeah. Now listen, what he's been able to do in Pittsburgh with how beat up that offensive line has been too, and what is a shell of Russell Wilson at this point in time, I will give him a lot of credit. But all the stuff from Atlanta last year of, well, at least from the outside in, you're going, oh, Kyle Pitts is a better tight end, but they don't use him. Maybe Kyle Pitts isn't the better tight end. Like there's been some things this year where I said, I don't know. But it was very confusing. The usage of Bijan and Tyler Algier and all that stuff, which kind of kept over towards this year, but maybe there's more to that than what we were seeing on the outside. I want to go back to the McCarthy and Pete Carroll, because we mentioned they're the oldest ones on the list by a pretty decent margin. I mean, it goes 73, 61, 52.
58. Todd Monken is 58.
58. Sorry, yep, I moved him up. So he's 58, and then Aaron Glenn and Vance Joseph are both 52. Here's the ones. Ben Johnson, obviously, he's the top target for most Bears fans, right? And for good reason. What he's done with that offense and how creative he's been. He puts on a show every time, or that offense puts on a show every time. So he's earned that. So I'm looking at Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, and Brian Flores right away. Those three guys get almost a bonus because you'd be taking them from a divisional opponent, right? So not only do you possibly bring in a good candidate, but you also take them away from a situation where they've had success and make them kind of start over a little bit, which is nice. But the age thing, are you concerned at all with bringing in the young hotness, if you will, right? Like bringing in one of these young guys and saying, "Hey, I need you to be a leader of men," because that's the catchphrase, right?
No, and that's why that's something that's been annoying me all along this process, and the speak from polls and the media and everything. They refer to Mike Vrabel as a leader of men, or Belichick as a leader of men. When they go to Ben Johnson, it's, oh, he's an offensive mind. Well, have you been in the room with the guy? Do you know that he's not capable of being the leader of men, of commanding a room? I mean,
right.
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, clearly we do know that about like of Vrabel, Pete Carroll. You know, they've got some gravitas. They've been there and they've done it
Right. It's
before.
proven. Yeah.
So that's fine. I just don't. I don't like to right away dismiss these other guys as having the capability of being that as well. Um, so there's that. Obviously, you know the conversations we've had. I'm pretty high on Ben Johnson. Um, not, I mean, what he's been able to do. I think that you also could hurt Dan Campbell's staff more by taking him than you would by taking Aaron Glenn. Now, most likely he's going to lose both of them this offseason, if I had to guess. Although right now there's only it unless something else happens, it seems like there's only 5 openings, which is a pretty small amount for the NFL this time of year.
So you've got Bears, Saints,
Yep.
Jags, because they let go of Peterson, Jets,
Patriots,
and the Patriots right now. Right. Miami has come out and said they're safe. It sounds like the Colts are sticking.
Yep.
Browns
the Giants,
are
the
keeping
Giants.
Stefanski. Giants are keeping Dable and Shane. Right. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see.
I saw today Antonio Pierce also got.
Well, Antonio Pierce, I has that one been confirmed? I saw he said he's just confident. He hasn't been told otherwise.
Well, I thought I saw somebody reported that he will be back, but
I'll check that right now.
Something tells me that has a lot to do with Mike Vrabel and the availability of the New England job, and what's going to happen there. I think that the Raiders were going to put their cards on the table for Mike Vrabel if he was available to them, and it sounded like he might be, but then I think that it wasn't completely expected that the Patriots would move on from their coach this offseason after 1 year. So
yeah, that was kind of weird. I mean I understand like they did not do well, but you were basically rebuilding everything with that, and I thought Drake May did really well given the situation. And then Joe Milton came in and looked like a world beater yesterday too. Like, well, not a world beater. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like he looked good.
he has
I mean,
some
he's an
fire
athletic
behind
guy for sure. Did a nice little backflip after his first rushing touchdown. But that one was a little shocking. But I almost makes you wonder if like they've already got a leg up in the Vrabel sweepstakes, right? You know, that's.
I mean, what did I see? Vrabel interviewed with the Jets and then switched his Twitter profile picture to him in a Patriots jersey.
Yeah, well, that's pretty just like trolling.
Yeah,
I mean, he's going home at that point, right? So,
yeah,
you know, it makes sense. Yeah. So just for funsies, Ben Johnson is your one, right? You're basically for you, you're 1, A, B, and C. Who you got at 2 and 3? Like going off of this list right now, let's take Vrabel. Let's take Vrabel out.
I've in my mind taken Vrabel out because I've now assumed him to the Patriots.
Right.
Like I don't think I know they have an interview lined up with him, and you know, go ahead and talk to him. But I feel like he might even cancel it. Who knows? You know, if they get progressively along that. But man, off of this list, I tell you, there's a name that's missing from this list that I don't see, and is Joe Brady from the Bills.
Yeah.
I would have wanted him to be a candidate. But I can't, after Ben Johnson, I would say that Liam Cohen and Todd Monken are the two that I would want to talk to next. I would be most interested in. Um,
The saying that
I'll talk to Aaron Glenn and Brian Flores. Brian Flores and what happened with him at Tua, to me, that just kind of makes him a non-starter. I want to hear what Aaron Glenn's plan is. You got, I don't know. I'd you got to talk to him, but not high on my. Um, you just put in Kellen Moore. I'm surprised Cliff Kingsbury isn't on this list. They did interview him last year.
which makes me think he's not gonna be on this list.
Right.
Yeah. But that's why I left him off. I don't think he's
Well, and his name didn't come up, right? They didn't request an interview, so as of yet, or that has been reported.
right. And the way everything went down in Arizona too, like it really puts that like little red flag that you got to look for. I threw Kellen
I'm not
Moore
saying
on
he
there.
would have been. I'm not saying he would have been super high on there, but yeah, Kellen Moore's interesting. He had the time in Dallas. He had some success there, and obviously he's with Sirianni and in Philly. Philly's having a hell of a year.
Yeah, I mean it's for me with Moore, you're looking at the same thing that we're talking about with Ben Johnson. They have the luxury of having a ridiculously good offensive line with really talented running backs, which just makes life so much easier, right? And I mean, Philly's got all the tools, with the exception of a really good quarterback. um, that's my one concern with Ben Johnson, and we've talked about it. Like he's had a lot of success, he's been really creative, but that offensive line has afforded him that, and I'm sure there's some of the crisscross, right? His creativity has afforded the offensive line to be that good as well, right? There is some give and take there.
Sure, maybe, but so he knows what a good offensive lineman looks like. Maybe he can help in trying to find another couple of them.
So that was gonna be my next thing is like if you get Ben Johnson, will he bring their O-line coach with like that's the next step I've already gone to is because I don't care so much offensive, defensive who your head coach is. That has never been a thing for me because uh, to me that responsibility should be with your coordinators, right? Like that's what you hire them for. That you should facilitate them doing their job, not do their job for them or take over for it, right? Like that's how I look at things. Obviously, you can have some input, you can run some systems. I get all that.
My concern comes with the year after year dysfunction of the Bears organization. So I'd rather only have to get it right one time than get it right twice, get it right with the head coach, and then the head coach having to get it right with the offensive coordinator.
Correct, and that's where I'm at. Like for me, it's more important. Are they able to build a staff and run the ship? Than are you offensive or defensive?
But the teams that we've seen like Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, Kevin O'Connell, Mike or Shanahan, these those are the guys that I want to model my organization or those type of guys around. And I feel like Ben Johnson very much looks like he's the next one of those.
The key word in that for me is organization, right? Because it obviously with the Bears is more than just a head coach issue. It's more than a GM issue. It's more than a team president issue. It's all of it rolled up into one. The stability is the kicker for all of those.
And for a little while, I was concerned he wasn't going to be available for us, or it seemed like maybe things were pointing towards, oh well, maybe he'll go to Jacksonville, or I would worry about the Patriots if Mike Vrabel wasn't out there. um,
Right.
but for some reason, Shad Khan decided to keep Trent Baalke as GM down there, and that guy's a coach killer. So I don't
And then
really.
say that the coach is going to report directly to Shad Khan instead of
Yeah, and
it's
it's a
yeah, it's
whole weird
weird.
thing down
Yeah.
there. So I'm not sure that Ben Johnson wants to dip his toe into that. Who the hell knows what Ben
I
Johnson
mean,
wants?
Jets
But
are looking for a GM too, so that kind of puts Ben
th-
Johnson in that
they don't have a quarterback.
realm. Hey, I'm not saying it's none of
I'm
these
just
none
that's
of these are perfect landing spots.
oh no,
None of
but
them.
there are things that some teams offer that others don't, right?
Absolutely.
Like
I,
I don't know. We're gonna have a
Caleb,
lot of time
yeah,
in the
Caleb
next.
Williams is a big part of that. Like let's not brush that under the rug by any means. Caleb Williams has proven because we kind of rushed through the Green Bay game, and we'll talk more about Caleb Williams, but he is a big attractor for this job, and he earned it this year.
And cap space, and yeah, we've been critical of Caleb at times because he hasn't been perfect, but he's a rookie and he's had a lot of noise going on around him throughout this
Yes.
year. So
Yep.
it's not like he's had stability in organization or coaching staff or a good offensive line in front of him. And we're not gonna make a bunch of excuses, but at the end of the day, Caleb Williams has the most total yards for any quarterback in Bears history in year one of his career.
And I think he was first as far as TDs and interceptions too
Probably, but yeah, he
for a rookie, right? Yeah,
not, but no, overall for any quarterback, when you add in the rushing yardage to his passing yardage, it surpassed Jay Cutler's best year from yardage standpoint.
with an arguably worse offensive line and just a shit show of
Yeah, we don't
coaching.
have big Cat Williams and Olin Kreutz out here.
Yeah. Oh man, I'd take them right now.
I
Right now.
know.
Right
I
now.
know.
I take Olin Kreutz's kid and hey, just come up from college and let's go. Like it's probably
He he's got another year, I think, at least for the Illini.
well.
That's a whole other thing, but
Yeah. Illini win their bowl game, right? Like, whoop,
they
whoop.
win their bowl game. They have 18 starters returning, confirmed returning from a 10-win team in college football,
Let's
which
go.
is incredible.
That was fun. Maybe we'll talk about that on the next one. I didn't even think to put that one on here.
Yeah.
But all right, cool. Let's go ahead and move on because we'll have plenty of time to talk about these coaching candidates. Playoffs are set. Wild card weekend is next weekend. So let me give you this here real quick. There we go. All right, wild card weekend on Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS. You get Chargers versus Texans, or at Texans, I guess. Sorry, and then 8 p.m. Eastern, we get Steelers at Ravens for the third time. That one ought to be interesting, to say the least. A lot of animosity and everything built up towards that one. I feel like that happens in the playoffs a lot with those two teams. Like I just feel like that happens like every 3 years or something like that. Then we move on to Sunday and we get Broncos at Bills, Packers at Eagles, which, by the way, in that meaningless game, the Bears winning put the Packers down to that 7th seed and make them go to Philly, which is fantastic. And then we get Commanders at Bucks, which should be a wonderful game as well. Then on Monday night, I don't know why it's showing it's Vikings at the Rams there on Monday night. Should be a good weekend. So, real quick, let's anything jump out at you as like the game of the weekend?
Game of the weekend?
Yeah.
Man, I mean, it's the playoffs, so we're gonna have a lot of good games. I just going down. I would say Chargers, Ravens, Bills. I'm
Wait,
gonna
are
say
you
Eagle.
picking winners right now, or yeah? I was just what's
Winners.
your okay,
I'm
okay,
picking. I'm picking.
okay.
I'm gonna say Eagles, but has Jalen Hurts cleared concussion protocol yet?
Not yet. All right, if you're gonna pick winners, I'm gonna pull up a different screen for you here because I was just saying
Oh.
game of the
Well, I mean,
which
I'm just picking this week. I'm not.
which
I wasn't gonna go
which game
past.
are we which
I,
game are we looking at here? All right, there we go. Let's get into bracket style and we'll look at it this way for you.
that's fine. I mean, I wasn't really trying to.
Yeah, if I was really cool, I'd move these over as you pick them so that we could just see what happens. But
I'm already seeing things that are bothering me right now. Anyway,
oh, this
like
is so wrong.
like the fact that it says the Texans are the 2 seed and the Bills are
This
the
is
4
so
seed.
wrong. I need to double check my sources here. I didn't even.
That's
I
not
just like pulled
that.
up a
Oh,
bracket
that's
and
not
went, "Hey,
even that's. Is this last year? No, it's not last year either.
nah, that
What
was
the
that
hell
was
is
bad.
this? This
I don't know. I'm gonna
this
go
is
get a new one.
you can,
I'm gonna go get a new one. That one was bad.
oh man,
Yeah, that one was really bad. This one looks better. All right, this one looks much better.
really trying to throw me off there.
Yeah, I just grabbed it and did it. I didn't. Let's do this one. This should be better. In my hurry to put everything in the notes, I just went, okay, here's a picture, grabbed it and went. I didn't do anything with it, but here you go.
All right. Well, um,
All right, where were we? All right,
I
so
was
let's,
just going off my cuff. I haven't looked at any spreads or anything like that.
let's
But
let's start with this one. Just give me Vikings Rams.
that's a tough one right there, actually. But I'll say Vikings because
Yeah,
I think they are. I think they are a better team. But LA beat them already.
yeah, in LA. If I
Yeah.
right in LA in that building, and they just got embarrassed. But let's not forget they're a 14-3 team. Like it's kind of silly. Like they're
It is. It's
14-3 and just
ridiculous. I mean,
it's insane. Listen, the NFC had a division with 3 teams in the playoffs, and the AFC's got a division with 3 teams in the playoff, and then like it's everybody else. Like it's
the
kind of crazy.
the NFC North had 45 wins total between the 4 teams.
All right, if you're gonna make all right, man. See, now you're gonna make me pull up something else for you. Like
What?
this is this is not formatted in any way, shape, or form. I was just I was playing with stuff because it was interesting to me. Let's see if you can still see this when I move it over here. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so if you're looking at these divisionally, right? The NFC North, you said 45-23 record. Uh, 12 of those losses were against the NFC North, right? So like it's
Right.
and
Yeah.
like most of
Right.
those are the Bears.
In the division, in the division though, both the Bears and the Packers were 1-5, and the Bears have point differential over the Packers by 1 point.
But so you look at this and you go through, right? Like AFC West is right there at 40-28. NFC East, okay. I mean,
Yep.
it's almost a
That-
10-win difference. But look down here at the South is like
brutal.
the
I
NFC
mean,
South, the AFC South, like it's bad. Like these 3 divisions are sub 500.
if I'm Shad Khan, that's my number one pitch to Ben Johnson is our division sucks. You can come in and take it over right away.
Right. Absolutely.
But the AFC West might be my bad call of the year because one of my bold predictions would that they would have 3 of their 4 teams not get to 6 wins, and yeah, I was,
All
I
right,
was
let's
pretty,
let's,
pretty
let's go
far
back
off
to the
there.
story. I got distracted with the you said that, and I was like, oh yeah, I was playing with that a little bit. All right, so we both had the Vikings. Let's go Commanders Buccaneers.
I'm gonna say Buccaneers.
Okay, I'm going Commanders on that one. Uh, Packers Eagles. I've got Eagles. I don't
I
even
got
think it's.
Eagles. I got Eagles, but it might change if it's Kenny Pickett starting there.
I'm not sure it's Kenny Pickett. It's Tanner McKee, man. Like I might start Tanner over Kenny Pickett at this point in time. The thing
Yeah.
is for me, like with that team, uh, you roll out Saquon and you let AJ Brown and Devontae Smith do their work and you're good. Like, I mean, the Bears just beat you with a shit O line. So like, I mean, what are you gonna do? But all right, so we agree on 2 out of the 3 on the NFC side, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go over the AFC. Chargers, Texans. I'm going Chargers.
Chargers. Chargers.
Yeah.
The Texans just seem like they're limping. They're not what they were last year, and their receiving core is just a little too banged up.
Yep. And I think they're still mentally trying to recover. Like we talked about, or emotionally trying to recover from Tank Dell getting
Yeah.
hurt again the way he did. Steelers, Ravens.
I got Ravens.
Yeah, this one's
Yeah.
tough just because it's the third meeting and it's in division and all that stuff. But I just think the
Pittsburgh
Ravens
has
are
lost. They've lost 4 games in a row.
Yep.
Their passing game is a mess.
Amen.
And
But Arthur Smith may be auditioning for a coaching job, so we'll see. But I do think the Ravens are just a little too much to take on here. See what's going on with Zay Flowers going into that game too. Broncos at Bills. This one's actually I think it'll be a fun game.
I think it'll be fun. As spicy as Bo Nix and that Denver team have been at times, Buffalo's just too damn good. Josh Allen. I mean, yeah, between Josh Allen and James Cook, they're not going to lose that game.
Yeah, I think this is Bills, and I think it's gonna be a fun game, but I don't think it's gonna be that close. I think if this game is at Mile High instead of High Mark, like it might be a little more interesting. It'll be really curious to see what the weather does too. Do you end up with one of those snow games like we had in what was it when they played San Francisco?
Those are fun, but I don't want that in the playoffs. I don't want that to be a determining factor of who wins the game.
Chris, I see you hopped in chat. I appreciate you stopping in again. I'm gonna have to read through all of that as we go on here a little bit later. I'm getting the gist of what you're saying, and you're absolutely entitled to. He is who we thought he was.
You can have bad opinions if you want, Chris. We won't make you go away for that.
Get to be your bad call of the week. Listen, Caleb's earned everything that he did this year. That offensive line is terrible, and you're not going to convince me otherwise. I think I saw it was like 27 different combinations this year of O-line, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Yes, everybody is on the higher Ben Johnson train. At least everybody that's above me and thing right now. I'm not against it. I'm not blinders, right? So
just real quick before we move on
yeah.
to the closing parts of the show here, because these things matter to me as we'll get to here in a minute with Tales of a Degenerate. But LA Chargers 3-point favorite, Baltimore Ravens 10-point favorite, Buffalo Bills 8.5, Eagles -4.5, Buccaneers -3, Vikings -1.5.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that's about right. The Vikings Rams. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, Chris, go ahead and give us your picks. I mean, we were pretty close. We've got uh, Vikings, Eagles, Chargers, Ravens, Bills. The only one we were split on was the Commanders and Bucks, and I'm saying the Commanders get that one. Uh, but it's going to be tough. Don't get me wrong; it's going to be a tough game. But that's another one where I think could be a really fun game to watch, personally. Um, but again, you got all these coordinators who are auditioning for head coaching jobs at this point, right? Aside from just trying to get their team on, they are all auditioning for head coaching jobs. So we will see what happens on that front. And with that, let's see. Chris, you said Bills, Ravens, Chargers, Eagles, Bucks, and Vikings. Yep. So he's rolling with Justin on that one. I guess the only one we get to do, and I told you so on, will be the Commanders and Bucks game. So that should be fun.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on. I don't have anything else on either one of those. The next little bit of this will be fairly quick. Tales of a Degenerate time. I am just sad, so I'm just going to stay out of this one and let you go.
Yeah, I sure picked a fine time to really fall on my face in the last regular season game of the year. Really disappointing. I in my super contest picks against the spread, first time all year I go 0-5. Finished the regular season at 47, 41 and 1, so above 500. Probably when you factor in the juice, probably right about dead even. Um, 4 to score. I did have Ray Davis and Zach Ertz in my touchdown parlay, but no juice for Jackson Smith in Jigba, despite all the points scored in that game. And I bought into the incentive hype on Tony Pollard and put him in for 2 touchdowns. And the Titans really weren't putting a great effort or anything that looked like good
Well, they were. It
football.
was just an effort to get the number one overall pick.
Yeah. So mistake on my part. Um, and then I was chasing all through even the game last night and missing. So it's good for me that we got a little break here for a few days. Otherwise, I would have chased on Monday Night Football again. So take a breather. Then we'll get to hopefully start building back up through college football playoff this week, maybe some college basketball, and get set for the wild card weekend.
Absolutely. I missed on just about everything. I did bet the Bears money line yesterday, just because nothing
Nice.
nothing major on that one, but I got that. And then I did miss on my 4 to score. Um, I mean it was a lotto ticket, right? It was a 407 to 1 basically. But I had Jonnu Smith, Marvin Mims, Audric Estime, and then Elijah Higgins was my like big dart throw. I figured, they were going to take care of McBride and Harrison, and I had a shot at it. And he scored a couple touchdowns this year. It just didn't work out for me. They put up like 47 points or something, and somehow Elijah Higgins did not have a touchdown. Tony Jones got that one.
Nor did Kyler Murray have a rushing touchdown, which I needed.
Yeah, it's
as well,
just
so.
absolutely friggin' ridiculous. So, um, you know, what are you going to do? That would have been a really nice way to finish my season, but is what it is. So let's go ahead and move on to bad call. And I'm going to go ahead and I did not do a bad call this week. So I am going to kind of back out of this one and let you have it. If I was going to do one, my bad call would probably be the 27 different O-line combinations and the whole let's keep Eberflus going as long as we did. But that would not be of the week. So
Yeah.
we'll move on.
So in college basketball, as anybody who has paid any attention here knows, I am an Illini fan. JD as well. Um, Illini basketball got a fresh team, and they got one returner from all of last year, but they've got a lot of good players that they brought in, and we're to the point of the season where the team is starting to gel. and they've not shied away. They've had a tough schedule along the way. They are at this moment 10-3, I believe. This past week they went out to Oregon, which is now a Big Ten game, on the road against Oregon, 9 in the country in the AP poll at the time of the game. They proceeded to beat the Ducks by over 30 points on their floor. And, today the AP poll comes out, and AP poll voter Brett Bloomquist has the Illini ranked 24th, 18 spots behind Oregon, who he ranked at number 6, which is 2 spots higher than he had them in his poll last week. All this goes to show that AP voting is a joke. Illini did move up to 13 overall in this week's poll after having 2 road wins in the conference. Their metrics have them rated 7th in the net, which will come into play when it comes to seeding time for the NCAA tournament. But it just goes to show that there are people that have voting rights in these AP polls that just shouldn't be allowed to, or if they don't want to bother, take a week off and don't submit a poll. It's just ridiculous. Bad call of the week, Brett Bloomquist.
Yeah, the college rankings to me are always fascinating. I have a thing about you're basing all of your rankings off of preseason rankings, which to me just it doesn't register on how, especially with all the NIL movement, all that stuff now, like transfer portal and everything, like how you can be like, oh, this team's going to be really good. This team's going to be, you've got no freaking clue. Like you're making best guesstimates at that point in time, trying to do a top 25 on teams that haven't played and are completely different from the year before is just a silly thing to me.
Well, preseason, yes, but by this point, teams have played
Right. But
12 to
they're all
15
based
games.
off of those, all based off of those points. Yeah. One last thing I want to get to on that, because I thought Nat was going to be able to hop on it. Yeah, sorry, I skipped over it when we went to the bad call, but we did draft.
I was reading some more
Oh.
of Chris's. Somebody
Yeah.
needs to take the drink away from Chris because he says Coleman Shelton was a big upgrade at center. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so at the beginning of the year, Nat, Justin, and myself did a little round robin fantasy draft, quarterback, 2 running back, 2 receivers, and a tight end, and basically just said, the winner gets to pick a charity the other 2 will donate to. I have not picked a charity yet, despite winning, but we'll go ahead and put this one out there. Nat came in 3rd place with 1,614.8 points on the season. Justin 1,810.5, and I had 1,945.3. The big difference.
I have to go check your stats there.
Yeah, feel free. They're on the Google Sheets.
I don't even know who's on my squad, but I have a feeling half of them didn't play this week.
So you only had 1 player not play this last week. But that is honestly the biggest difference between my season and yours and Nat's season, is that I did not have any long-term injuries on mine. You had to absorb the CMC train, although in week 2, I mean, you only did that for the first week. Nat, he lost out on CD Lamb. Tyreek Hill was basically a wash for a long time. He didn't have Jalen Hurts for basically the last 3 weeks either. Not that it was going to, honestly make a huge difference.
Tyreek Hill and Breece Hall, probably the 2 biggest disappointments in fantasy for guys that did not have injuries.
Yeah, absolutely. Breece Hall was, that was just a pure disappointment on that team. But then again, when you really think about it, that's the Aaron Rodgers effect, if you will. Like, we were looking at it from a logical standpoint of that should open up the run game and make things better, but they just didn't run the ball that much. Really shouldn't be surprised given the offensive coordinator and all that stuff going on out there. So it was a fun season. Definitely, we had some I mean, you had some monster weeks out of Jamar Chase. Nat in the last couple weeks between Jahmyr Gibbs and Jonathan Taylor, had he had that for most of the season, I don't think I would have been anywhere close. But I mean, I did have Bijan and Saquon. So your roster, Justin, was Mahomes, Achane, Brees Hall, Amon-Ra, Jamar Chase, and Kittle. Nat had Hurts, Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Tyreek, CD, and Laporta. And then I had Josh Allen, Barkley, Bijan, Justin Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, and Trey McBride. Just worked out. Like I said, it was mostly the injuries. I will be narrowing down that charity. I've got a couple in mind, and we'll get back to that. That was a lot of fun. Maybe we'll touch base on that. I'll let you stat check that for next week.
I don't know if we should have included week 18, but it wasn't.
Well, I can tell you, without week 18, it's not going to make a difference.
No, I didn't think so. I didn't think so. But,
week 18, you only beat me by 12 points. I mean, we could have stopped after week 16, and it wouldn't have really made a difference. It was just the injuries early really slowed you guys down.
You know, if I would have taken Lamar Jackson instead of who went undrafted instead of Patrick Mahomes, it would have made the biggest difference in the world. So
yeah, I mean, Mahomes did nothing for you until about week 8. Honestly,
I'm just looking at scoring in Yahoo Fantasy. Lamar Jackson put up 550.1 fantasy points this year. Patrick Mahomes put 362.8. That is insane.
Yeah,
difference.
The difference. I mean, I've got this. Like, if you look at it from a QB standpoint, Josh Allen beat out Mahomes by 100 points. Right. My running backs put up 700 points to your 500 into Nat's 600. My receivers gave me 560 points. Yours gave you 700. So I mean, that was the big closer. Our tight ends were pretty close on that front, but it was the QB and running back.
Yeah.
But as I said, it was a fun thing. You know, we'll try it again next week. We did it kind of best ball style next season. You know, it's a fun thing to do, and it's going to charity, so gotta love it.
Yep.
Gotta love it. All right, buddy. Any last thoughts before we dip up out of here?
Just looking forward to watching playoff football. It's now to the point where there's no competing. I don't have to worry about a quad box or a red zone channel. Though I love those things, we have what should all be at least somewhat interesting matchups. Good football these next few weeks. Really good.
Absolutely. Very much looking forward to that, and looking forward to draft on Saturday morning. Get ready for these playoffs. I'm hoping I can just keep my same team and name and everything from last year. I'll be real happy about it. Chris, thank you so much for stopping in, chatting. Really appreciate you. Nat, same thing to you. Chris, good luck with your fantasy playoff draft next 2 nights. Good for you. Good luck to you. Hope everything works out. If you stuck around, really appreciate you stopped in at all. Make sure you hit that subscribe, comment, all the things. Let us know what your bad call of the week is, who you think is going to win these games. We really appreciate it. We'll talk to you probably next week. And until next time, try to avoid making another bad call.
Yo, it's another week, another game.